Welcome to Retire Coast, where we discuss all things retirement, life on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and your financial welfare. Bill Anderson, your host, is a serial entrepreneur having created many successful businesses and holds a real estate broker's license, speaks about personal experiences with each topic. Listen.
Well, thanks for dropping by again. We're going to talk about something that should be near and dear to the hearts of many who are listening, and that is your 401k plan. The topic is drain that 401k after age 59 and a half. I want to be very clear about what I mean by draining that 401k. But before I get into talking about all the specifics and the main reason that you came here to listen, I wanted to give you a quote from the Honorable Oliver Wendell Holmes, Supreme Court Justice. In 1927, he made a statement, "Taxes are what we pay for a civilized society. We buy civilization with taxes. The power to tax is the power to destroy." I want to add to that others have said that tax avoidance is not only legal, but it's a right. Tax evasion is a crime. Now that we have cleared all of that up, and I want to talk to you about the tax avoidance part of that and why you should want to avoid taxes. You are not, as being a retired person, probably earning an additional income. You gave up that W-2. Maybe you didn't. Some of you might be working part-time. For the most part, there will be a point in your retirement where the only income that you are earning will be derived from Social Security, from your pensions, and from your investments. That's where your money's coming from. It's not going to be coming from a regular job. You're going to have to conserve that money because no matter how well you plan, things come up. Life happens. Inflation happens. Politics happen. Everything starts to change, and there's just no way that you can adequately plan for all of these things. I have discussed this a number of times in other forums, both on the retirecoast.com website and in podcasts and in YouTube videos about planning and budgeting for retiring. However, that said, it's incumbent upon you to find every way you can to save that money. And that's the point we're going to get to now. So before I belabor it anymore, let me discuss something with you about your 401k plan and the reason for that. Now, remember when you put that together, you were working for someone, and it was a good way for the company to match your contribution and for you to set aside more money out of your paycheck because you weren't paying taxes on it directly at that point. That's all a good thing. Now that all of that came to an end, you're no longer working for that company, you're not getting any extra money on this, and now it's no different than any other IRA out there, except that it is way different than a Roth IRA. Because as long as your money stays in that 401k, when it comes out, you will be subject to income taxes on that money. Money that comes out of a Roth IRA is not subject to income taxes. So the object here is for you to set up a Roth IRA and then transfer the funds from your 401k to the Roth IRA so you can stop the clock on income tax. Now, you need to get it out of that 401k, and that is precisely what we're going to talk about today. Now, you can make a maximum contribution every year if you are over 50 of $7,500 per individual. So if you have a spouse, then you can double that. And that money can go into your Roth IRA, which means you want to remove that amount from your 401k plan. Now, here's how it works. Let me shock you by saying that Social Security income can be taxable. As a matter of fact, I'm going to talk about couples now so that I don't go into all the different tables here. And the couples are roughly double the single benefits in any of the categories I discuss here. I want to start with your income in retirement. 50% of your Social Security benefits are taxable for married couples if the amount is over $44,000 and you're filing jointly. Okay, just keep that in mind, 44,000. And let's say that that's all the income you had. I don't want to get too complex here, but some of you will have other kinds of income. You will have retirement income, you'll have money that you've taken out of investments, the dividends, those kinds of things. But bear with me, you can add that in later. So right now, let's just simply say that you had up to $44,000 of income, and that means that 50% of that is taxable. Now let's go back to your deductions. And the government came up with a great plan in 2018, which, by the way, sunsets in 2024. If Congress does not pass a new bill, all of our taxes will go up, including for those people who didn't think that taxes went down in 2018 when Congress passed that large bill. In fact, they did. So what they gave us was a $27,700 deduction, standard deduction, and that helped us avoid going through all of those receipts and everything else that we had, and the insurance on our house and all the things that we were deducting. So basically in retirement, you have a standard deduction for married filing jointly of $27,700. So if you had earned $44,000, and that would be taxable, however, you apply that standard deduction against that, and you're going to cut that way down. And that's going to bring you to a point where you will probably have the ability to earn more money before you pay the first dollar in income taxes. And that's the point that I'm getting to with the 401k and removing funds from there. What you want to do is do some planning and determine if you have a gap between the amount that you have deducted and the amount that you have earned, and before you pay a dollar of taxes, let's say that you can earn another $6,000 or $7,000. If you could earn enough to fund that Roth IRA, for example, at $7,500, then you wouldn't pay any income taxes on the money you take out of your 401k if all you're taking out of that 401k is the same amount, $7,500. If you did this year 1 and year 2, year 3, year 4, eventually you transfer the money from the 401k over to your Roth IRA. So what has that done for you? Well, you haven't paid any taxes on it. That's a good thing. The other thing is that it is growing for you in the Roth IRA, and it's earning the same kinds of money. You might have had it invested. For example, you bought an index fund in your 401k. You can buy the same index fund in your Roth IRA. It earns the same amount of money. The difference is that you'll never pay income tax on that. Now, if you keep transferring this money all year, and you do it, if you're married, your spouse should also be able to transfer too the same amount. A larger amount is try to clear that out. Now, if you have a single 401k and you're married, it doesn't make any difference. You'll be able to take that $7,500 for each of you and push that over into the Roth IRA, even though the source is coming from your 401k. The source is completely irrelevant to the government. The government says everybody is entitled to $7,500 after 50 years old to put into your Roth IRA. Now, depending on how much you're pulling out, for example, if you pulled out double that, $7,500, that's $15,000, and possibly you will pay some income tax on the difference. Let's say that you could remove as much as $10,000 before paying the first dollar in income tax. The good thing is that there's $5,000 left over you're going to pay taxes on, but that $5,000 will be taken out of the lowest tax rate, which is 10%, because you can earn up to $10,275 and pay 10% taxes on that. That's a lot better than 22% or 24% if you were just to start taking that money out and paying taxes on it. So careful planning to be able to eat up any gap between the income that you have and the deductions. That'll allow you to take money out every year, as I said, and transfer that money from your 401k to your Roth IRA without paying taxes or paying a small amount. You may want to move a larger amount over. For example, you can move up to $41,775 of taxable income out of your 401k plan and put it into something else. You can pack in your Roth IRA, and after that's full, maybe you put it into a brokerage account. The fact is that you've already cleared the taxes on it at the lowest tax rate. You're in the 12% tax rate as opposed to the next one, which is 22%. And you'll pay less, of course, if you have a gap there. If you're moving $41,775, but you have got another credit for another $10,000 or $15,000 before you start paying taxes, then the amount you're going to pay taxes on is even smaller than the $41,000. It might be $10,000 smaller, $15,000 smaller. Depends on the income, your static income, and the standard deduction. Most people in retirement don't have larger than the standard deduction. By the time you add up all the other things, the interest on your house and all of that, consider some of the laws that prohibit anything more than $10,000 deductible. For most people, that standard deduction of $27,000 is the best thing going. So I'm going to wrap this up by giving you some more specific information on the ages. 59 and a half is the first time that you can take funds out of a 401k plan without paying a penalty. You are still subject to income taxes based on your tax bracket and the amount that you take out, and that's at the federal level. Don't forget states. Many states, including California, charge a state tax on removal of funds from 401k plans. Others do not. If you're over age 70 and you're not working, you won't be permitted to put funds into an IRA without paying income tax on those. That's different than the way it works before you're 70, where you can defer the taxes similar to a 401k plan. So those are out. That's why the Roth IRA works, because you are permitted to use that after age 70. The next thing you need to look at is the age 72-73, when you'll be required to make mandatory withdrawals from your 401k plan according to a schedule that the IRS dictates. You have to do that, otherwise there's an enormous penalty that they will charge you if you do not take that money out. It is, of course, taxable, as any withdrawal from a 401k is, again, based upon your tax situation. Now, you can still contribute to a 401k if you were working after age 70. Actually, as long as you're working, you can contribute to your 401k. There is no limit on that. However, when you stop working, you won't be able to contribute to it. You can remove the funds, of course, after age 59 and a half. So even while you're working and putting money into a 401k, you may have the option with your employer to put the funds into a Roth 401k type plan after you have made the match with the standard 401k. This will help you down the road with avoiding additional taxes. I want to wrap this up by giving you some good news. The IRS has a website. It's irs.gov, very simple, and you can go into their tax withholding estimator. Again, it's on the irs.gov website, not one of those fake websites that come up when you start putting in IRS. And you can actually use this estimator to determine what your taxes are likely to be for the current year or the next year. It's a great tool to use. It's not foolproof, but it'll give you a real good idea. And what you're looking for, hopefully, is that you will not pay income tax based on the income you're earning now and the standard deduction. And if there's a gap there, in other words, you could earn more money before you start paying income tax, figure out what that is, and that's the base amount you want to move from your 401k into your Roth up to, again, $7,500. If that amount is larger than $7,500, then you can still take that money out of your 401k plan, and then you can put it into a brokerage account. Either way, you want to get it out of the 401k plan. That's the most important thing. What you do with it when it's out of the 401k plan is a different issue. I'm only suggesting that many people will want to save that. If you were planning on taking money out every year anyway, then this is a way that you can plan on taking money out to use for household expenses, etc., without paying taxes on it. Then if you determine that you want to take out more of that, use that tax estimator and try to keep the amount that you take out under the $41,000 and change I mentioned, so that you stay within the 12% tax bracket or even the 10% tax bracket if that's necessary. So please use the IRS withholding estimator. Gives you a really good idea. There's also some other information on the IRS website that may turn what I just gave you, which may be as clear as mud, into something with more clarity. So to sum up, drain that 401k as fast as you can, paying the least amount of taxes. Don't wait until you need to pull out $50,000 or $75,000 and get hit with a 22% income tax bill. There's no reason for you to pay that tax. Let somebody else pay it. Well, thank you very much for coming to retirecoast.com. Please visit our website. We have lots and lots of articles there at retirecoast.com, topics such as this one and many others about retirement finance, living on the Mississippi Gulf Coast where I live, and retirement income is state tax free here. Just kind of a plug there. Well, thank you for coming.